Hello. Well, I have the night off, and I'm on night shift, and I'm in a small prairie town. And Eric Waite just finished a great little show, and I thought, what the heck? I'll come on after Eric. He's always on for a pretty solid hour. He's got good timing. That guy's very organized. And I thought I'd come in here, kill some of my night shift, because there's not much to do here unless I want to go to the one local bar. That's got some weird name to it, that place. I forget what it's called now. What do they call that? Chicken Chef. That's the name. Chicken Chef. Hey, Loch Ness. Test driving your new STD coin. What have you been doing with it? Turn it into a steering wheel? Yeah, it's nice to have a night off, but it kind of throws you off, my man. I gotta pop the chat up so it's separate. Too many screens on. There we are. Now I can see what's going on. I was gonna do this outside, but a lot of the guys have the night off too, so they drink a little bit more. Hey, Richard, I'm not in Moose Jaw now. I'm in a place called Esterhazy. It's even smaller than Moose Jaw. Anyway, what's everyone doing? Chris, I just saw you in the chat. Richie Z, I just saw you in the chat. Hope everything's going well. You know what? I'm going to start with this Adelphi. It's a $35 bottle of blended Scotch, 40% ABV. I knew you'd find me, and I'm glad you did, dear. They'll be on in an hour, and I'll do this for maybe 45 minutes before their show starts. Hey, Scott. I hope it's Scott. Are you ready for your reunion with Bart? I'm actually looked up Greg Swartz a little bit. Everybody's getting primed and ready for your show, me included, but I have the night off and I'm on night shift. So I hope I see you two guys giving each other a big hug. Your new desks. Your desk moved and you can sit beside each other. And I think you guys should ask Julia how come she's not down here taking care of me while I'm all alone. Equal opportunity guns. You have a watermelon wheat beer from Ohio Brewery. No whiskey yet. Hey, that might be all right. What do I have? I have actually some local beer here. I'm right beside the fridge. It's a company called Original 16 is the name of the beer. And it was called, the company itself was malted barley, white wheat, orange peel, hops, and coriander. That's what's in this. But the company, that's what it was. Original founders. The Great Western Brewing Company. And they were going to close down. They were bankrupt or they were going out of business. And so the 16 employees bought it, took it over, and still let them close down. And they've actually turned it into a good brewery. They make the original 16. They make a copper. It's a very good beer from Saskatchewan here. I have to say I like it quite a bit. Thanks for mentioning that. Hey, operators are standing by to take your donations. Eric had his whiskey cult chat today, which was a very good show. Not necessarily about his actual own cult, but about being careful about how we may idolize whiskey or YouTubers in general, and not to spend all our money frivolously. But I need to look that up. Let us know if Daniel. I get mad every time she watches you guys, and there's a few others. They make unnecessary comments about Julia. You might. I'm not mad. infuses my frustration with madness. Anyway, I was talking about beer, and I think Saskatchewan was missing on the boat here, the boat for being Canada's whiskey capital. What am I going to say? That's what I think. That's how I feel. So I hope you guys have clicked on the Scotch Test Dummies reminder so that you're ready for their show. I'm going to do that right now. Scott, have you set yourself up yet for the show, for your event? Is there anything for me to set up? It's a good idea, buddy. How do you spell Scotch Test Dummies? There we are, live with. You do have it set up. Ready to go. Right on. See? That's the kind of fan I am of the Scotch Test Dummies. I was looking at Greg Schwartz's Instagram. He's an interesting fellow, so I'm looking forward to seeing the actual interview. Where is it? He actually liked a few of my photos. Where did it go? Water for Life Film is the Instagram. Check that out, guys. Interesting stuff they've got going there. Anyway, I've got an Adelphi original, or I have an original 16 beer here, and I have an Adelphi, which is not bad for a 35-year-old or a $35 bottle blend. It's got a very earthy note to it on the nose. Julia, where are you going? No. What do you mean going? Julia, if you're going because you can't watch, because of doctor's notes, as I understand. Indiegogo about him. Okay, cool. We will check that out, Scott. Don't go there. Yeah, this is a unique. Got great little legs on it, though. Always hold the camera in the wrong spot. It's very oily looking. It is a little young, but you don't feel any heat until you actually swallow it, or I didn't anyway. It's feels a little stronger than a 40% would be. I think it's very drinkable. Okay, so this documentary looks pretty interesting, actually. Anybody out there watched other documentaries last week, I think it was, or was it the week before? Eric Waite was talking about a movie. Of course, the movie really wasn't about whiskey. It was, they could have been robbing from a bank, let alone a whiskey one, right? There's a whiskey documentary on YouTube that you see quite often, probably almost an hour long. What else? Anybody else seen anything specific that they would like to share with the group? Now I sound like I'm a, what do you call it? Counselor. That's Eric Wade's job. Counselor. Anybody want to send Eric any money? The 1-800-WHISKEY call. Notice that he takes whiskey donations. Boondock Saints, again, was a movie. But yes, it was a very good movie. The sequels weren't so good. Not as good anyway. TV, because of the motorbike channels. Every thought about changing your name a bit so it comes up your channel. I could, Santa. I think that I'll have to take a look at that because you're not the first person that said that. The term comes from that very thing. Whiskey throttle is a term for dirt bikes. Really, it's for dirt bikes. All the other videos people put it on there probably had a dirt bike background. Blade Runner. Yeah, but that's what makes that a whiskey channel. Is that because it had Johnny Walker in it? Pressman? It makes me laugh. Any whiskey-related movies? There's one old one, isn't there? You're watching The Abyss? Is there whiskey in that? Other than somebody to open up, though, if we're talking about that, you might as well watch Jessica Jones. Every episode has at least one, if not two, bottles of whiskey in it. Louis, how you doing, buddy? Hope everyone's enjoying their night. I have to find a way to stay up all night long so that I don't lose the rhythm of the night shift. Yeah, so there you are. Well, we've got this Adelphi. I'm going to finish it off, I think. We got 1997 Belle Blair, which I know if I drank it before this Adelphi, it would ruin the Adelphi. And that stuff is totally different. Oh, yeah. Not even the same. Adelphi calls this the loyal, old, mature private stock. I don't know what makes it loyal. Maybe they just have their own infinity barrel, and then they fill it up with stuff they don't have enough of, and then they bottle it and call it a blend. You're just settling in for the evening, Louis? I wish Julia would come back. Scott's getting ready for his show. Anybody want to bet where they're doing it? Belle Blair's never made a peated version, right? I don't know. I don't think so. I've never seen a peated version of anything. Does everybody make a peated version now, at least? Is it just because peat has become popular or what? Yeah, it's not bad when we get all together, and it wasn't even planned that way, was it? So, aw, sweetie, I'm sorry. You worked too hard yesterday. This is hard for me, guys. I tell you something, being away and being on night shift makes it even worse. Miserable. I got to find a job. I wonder if I drop my resume off in a liquor store, if I could get a job. Julie would have to support me then, though. Oh, well. Everybody's got her. All right. I might end up having to eat TJ's Pizza when like the Subways opens up. I'm grabbing a glass. And I only have these glasses, whatever they provide. Let's see what original 16 looks like. I think it's going to be very much like the other orange wheated beers are like. We should. I think I need to go to Scotland and check it out first, see if it's safe for you. Is that okay if I go there first? Kind of a recon job, Julia. Oh, my Lord. That stuff's good. Prairie White. Not Berry White. I said Prairie White. We'll do the Berry White voice. I'll do that with RJ. What's RJ Brown? What's his name again? Swami's friend? Beer Adventures. I like that guy. He's funny. Oh, actually, that's more refreshing. Any thoughts on Stag Junior Batch 10? Julie's already been there. I have some Stag Junior at home. I don't know if I have Batch 10. Does it actually say Batch 10 on it, or do you have to go by the date? because they have 2 bottles and they have different alcohol content, varying 60 to 60, whatever. They're not identical. So we could do it a lot, man. And actually, right, you can see. All right, Mr. Peanut Butter, how you doing? Never met you before, I don't think. Mr. Peanut Butter, that is a cool name, man. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale Beer. Well, I know you won't be able to get this Belgian style wheat beer where you're at. Hopefully one day, maybe you will. I'm sure that Donald Trump and Trudeau, our leaders, will find a way to get our tariff garbage all figured out. Santa, we should maybe talk, but we'll figure it out. Julia has offered that to other companies, actually, to do their media stuff. She's done some media, celebrity photography, product stuff. So yeah, I'll sell my house and buy a fancy RV and a big, different new truck, Julia. But the RV's got to carry a couple motorbikes, and you have to learn how to ride one and not get a concussion. I am having some, Eric. The red craft beer from Norseman, the red ale from Downtown Square Brewing. Everybody's drinking a lot of beer. What happened to whiskey? Okay, let's see how Belgier goes with 1997. I like that stuff. I get cinnamon. I get cinnamon a lot. Cinnamon. I do get the little grassy notes, like not fresh green grass, but a dried grass. I'm not really good at this tasting stuff. I've been doing this for years. I go to tastings. If they're small, more quaint tastings, guys, let's be honest. Maybe I've never done the homework and tried to put myself into it, but whatever. Heard today is Wild Turkey Day. Wild Turkey Day. I don't know. Is it Wild Turkey Day? Scott from the Scotch Test Dummies was telling some of us that it was different days. Every day has a different day. What? Britain. Lots of Woodford Reserve today. That's next. Woodford Reserve bourbon is good stuff. Just their regular expression. Wild Turkey 101. I've had Wild Turkey 101. I found it hard. I found it a little hard. I enjoy whiskey, yeah. My liver might be telling me otherwise, so I'm told. So I'm probably going to have one of these months, dry months that everybody talks about, guys. And it certainly isn't because I want to jump on the bandwagon of the dry month or taking a day off. But we should take care of ourselves. Seen it on Bourbon's night. So that's a beer you guys are talking about, Sierra Nevada? Oh, pale ale beer. Anyway, we have lots of people that chat about lots of different things. Does anybody out there think there's anything missing that they'd like to see? Those are the questions. Really, what should be being done is what the fans want, not what, sometimes I like to do my thing. And my thing is I like to talk. I'm a chatter. I will. And I actually have lots of connections and liver cleansing kits. And, some people believe in that stuff. Some don't. there's lots of things I could do. Mostly is my diet. And if we talk to Julia, she's going to say, become a vegetarian. And I definitely could add a lot more vegetables into my diet. For Richie's question, is it malty? Yeah, you might be right there, but kind of like a wet, damp malt. This one. I have the other Adelphi too, the Kincardine, but that's a different league, man. Like $130 difference in price. It's very creamy. It may have coloring added to it. I don't see anything on here saying it doesn't. My recommendation is try it before you buy it on this one. It's selected Adelphi Distillery Limited. Ardnamurchan. I don't know how to say their distillery. This company, Adelphi, actually has their own distillery. And they have some whiskey spirit, or whatever you want to call it. Not yet Scotch brewing. But they've been selling some of it. And it's actually great. And actually, I've got to get a bottle of some stuff from Canada. Same thing. The Canadian one, which is Victoria Caledonian Distillery on Vancouver Island, which is where Food Quig lives, has a spirit that they made. It has not been aged long enough yet. And it's been sent, a sample of it was sent to Whiskey Advocate, and they rated it as a 7-year-old. The stuff is phenomenal. But if you guys look them up, Victoria Caledonian Distillery. I don't know their exact website yet. I will find out. It is got huge, knowledgeable, experienced people involved. Matter of fact, they had the guy that was buying what is it? Cavalin barrels, hired to buy barrels for them. Caledonian Distillery. Yeah, Victoria Caledonian Distillery and Brewery. So they're making beer as well. Everyday dram, even in Canadian dollars. Which one's an everyday dram, even in Canadian dollars? Okay, Scott, we will see you soon, buddy. You're set and ready to go. We're waiting for you. 7:20. What do we got? A half an hour, right? Before you start? Give or take. Bourbon night is, you two could be the next two things. In fact, before you want to go out of town, you are going to do reviews, correct? Maybe. Malton Band Cave, how you doing, buddy? I'm working night shifts out here, buddy, and I'm just doing a little hangout with the chats before our buddies, the Scotch Test Dummies, have their reunion. Because Bart's been away for a while, and Scott's missed him because he had to have 4 Canadians on a show. It's pretty serious when you got 4 of us at once to take Bart's place. And we didn't even have any board games, Keith. Anyway, I'm talking about a distillery in Canada here called the Caledonian, Victoria Caledonian. They're also known as the Trois Dog Brewery. They make beer there as well, but their whiskey is very good. And they have some highly experienced people. 3rd generation master distiller is Mike Nicholson. And I mean, if anybody has ever been to Victoria, it's a place that nobody would have a hard time moving to. So convincing people to come and join their team wasn't a bad or a hard sell. Their master distiller, this Mike Nicholson, spent his career distilling single malt whiskeys in 18 diverse Scotch distilleries, from Lagavulin to Glenkinchie. So I don't know where else he's been, right? He was whiskey maturation expert, the late great Dr. Jim Swan, heralded. Yeah, they're backed up. They did their homework before they did anything. The Macnabraki, which is almost sold out, and I haven't bought one. I think not Swami, Foodquig was doing a review of it because he lives there and he's gotten some of it. Whiskey Intelligence gave it 87 points. I don't know how else the rating works. I assume that's the same as anything else. It's a 12-month-old single malt spirit. I'm going to try to get a bottle and send some samples out. I know somebody that works there, so we'll see. Anyway, let's get back to this Balbelair 1997. You're going to be the producer? I kind of like that idea. Here's what I'm drinking. Everybody see that? Deanston 20. I just got a Deanston 18-year-old. I haven't even opened it yet. And you're going on about that, Richie. You show off. There's lots of Deanstons I keep seeing and hearing about, but none of them are in my area. So, and if anybody has a chance, go over to the Malted Man Cave. He just posted a review with him and Andy. What did we say it was there, Keith? Let's take a look.
Yes, I smell weak.
Oh, you guys are barking at each other. That got a little out of hand. What's going on with that there, Keith? That and old antique Weller 107. I don't have that one. I have an old or a Weller, but it's the green label, which I think is pretty common, lower end version. Anything by them is yummy. You are right. What is it like? It's cinnamon, which, you know, I think other people might call spicy notes. It's 40% or 46% ABV. Sweet cotton candy kind of nose on it. Do they make a cinnamon flavored cotton candy? Maybe that's what I'm getting. I didn't. Yeah, Kevin, I got just the regular 18-year-old. I didn't get the ex bourbon cask. I hear it's good. I don't know if this has got as high a rating as the other Balblairs, but you know what? I'd grab this again and again. I would. It's very easy to drink. Vanilla. Sweet. And cinnamon. I'm getting, that's it. I think I don't have the palate for this, guys. Maybe I should just drink beer, or I should read the tasting notes and repeat everything I read. Yeah, buy it. You'll like it. It tastes like good Scotch to me. How's that? Sulfur notes. What do people get lots of sulfur notes off of Deanston for? I work in plants that have sulfur in them in my industry, so I don't think I'd ever pick up a sulfur from a whiskey, because I've actually been lit on fire by sulfur. Like a snake went right around me. I was an apprentice at jackhammering out a bundle in a tube sheet, and a spark lit that sulfur dust up, and it scared the bejeebies out of me. I jumped out of the hole, and the foreman, the journeyman, who should have been telling me about stuff, said that, well, he didn't say anything. He just stood there and laughed. He thought it was funny. I was freaking right out. I'm on fire, which I literally was, but it was like a serpent. Just a snake went right around me. Anyway, what feels bad, man? I like the cross chat. I like being in a chat. It's hard to keep up, though. So got half an hour. You know what, guys? I've been reading a bit, trying to. Anybody actually do any reading? I got this, which I've had for a few years. Keep starting to read it. I think Julia read more of it than I did the week I was there, and she only sat with it a couple hours. And I believe Charles McLean is now doing something with this Scotch Malt Whisky Society, which is cool. I like that about him. Unfiltered, which is the Scotch Malt Whisky Society magazine. There are lots of interesting articles in here. Not just about the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. It's a very good magazine. Sulfur. I don't know. I don't get this sulfur thing. I never have, really. I get some hay, maybe. Cinnamon or spice. I like this stuff. I could sit here and drink this all night long and just talk about life. So let's talk about life. Hey, Thomas, how's it going, boss? How you doing? Peter White. Ammonia, or yeah, Rob did pick up some of that stuff in the other one. But first of all, I don't go around smelling urine. And if I did, it's not the one thing I'd want to pick up. Cat piss, that's different. I got a little bit of that, but I don't ever smell it too much. The cat likes to use one corner of my house. It's kind of sandy as a litter box. It's right by the tulips. And then the rabbits in the neighborhood, as soon as the tulips bloom, they eat them all up. They're gone before I ever get to see them. Yeah, and there's something to be said about that, Richie, about different bottles, right? You could get a different Balblair, and it would be totally different than depending. This is a second edition, by the way. That's the other thing. And I get caught up on that too, because you'll get one and you don't realize that it's a second release. Well, guess what? And this is one of my favorite things about Ralphie. And I've mentioned this multiple times. Ralphie does a review. It's old. It's like sitting in his kitchen at his house from I forget what year it is. It's quite a way back. Just type in Ralphie Johnny Walker Red Label, and he compares two different Red Label bottles. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. And one of the bottles is, I forget now, 25 years old. It was in the back of someone's kitchen. And, or no, it was in the back of their grandfather's closet. When their grandfather passed away, they were cleaning up and emptying things out, and they found this unopened bottle of Johnny Walker Red Label. So Ralphie compares it to a new bottle, and there's a vast difference of years. I mean, we're talking at least 25 years. Life's a trip, man. Life's a trip. But the ultimate part of that thing is that they had similarities. You can definitely tell where they were trying to make the new Johnny Walker taste like the old Johnny Walker. They can only go back so far, though, to, the previous batch and try to make it taste as much like the previous batch, the master blender, when they're dealing with that stuff. And it can't tell me that the master blender doesn't have a day off. It's like having a chef. I work in camps. You get a chef that smokes, and the other chef on the opposite shift doesn't smoke. Well, the chef that smokes salts the living crap out of everything, and the other guy hardly puts any of the salt in it because he can taste the difference. So when you're changing chefs during the shifts and you get different food. Trust me, I've noticed that. It's like, whoa, man, the same thing I had yesterday tastes like somebody dumped a gallon of salt in it, and the other one didn't taste like anything. We can't add our own stuff to the whiskey. But anyway, there must be something like that happens, right? So it all varies, right? There's a few distilleries I like because I don't think they try to mimic everything that's copied. Compass Box. Here in Canada, there's 2 brewers. They're from Whitehorse up in the Yukon. I've never had a bad Bell Blair either. I haven't had a whole lot of them, but I've never had one I didn't like. I saw the bottle they were asking for 180. Where was this, Louis? I've been looking for which bottle? The bottle I'm having here or a bottle at somebody else? Pleasant Hill. Oh, Pleasant Hill. Anyway, we have me rambling on about stuff, but really, sometimes I watch stuff and I wonder if we put too much pressure on our whiskey. Just enjoy it. Right? I mean, I've gone to people's places, guests, friends, and they've offered me a whiskey, and I don't turn it down. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll have that. Don't you have any better stuff? No, you're not gonna be like that when they might not know more than you do. They might know less, but they tried, right? So you have the whiskey, and it's probably gonna be just fine. That's just me, right? Do I ever blend my whiskeys? I have not really tried to do too much of that, but I have a little drop of this and I have a little drop of that. Richard, let's go for it. I don't know if I'll even notice a difference. I mean, obviously, there's way more Bell Blair was in the glass. Make sure I have a little drop to compare. There was probably 4 or 5 drops of the blended stuff. Oh, yeah. There's actually, you know what? That's funny. Good idea. You brought that up. There's definitely got to be food coloring in that Adelphi blend. Adelphi Dancing Man, a mid-19th century cartoon, depicts Sir William Gladstone as a chancellor at the Exchanger performing in it. And I'm reading the bottle. That's what I should do, is read the bottle. Anyway, I really get a lot of caramel out of this now that I've put those drops in, Richie. So you know what? There's something there. And that's another thing. I don't know if you got that from Ralphie or not. He actually has a few videos that shows us how to blend things, doesn't he? In a good way, in a fun, experimental way, right? Is the Bell Blair only ex-bourbon, or is there some ex-sherry in there? Highland single malt Scotch. Vintage. I don't know, man. Natural color. Bottle matured in Scotland. Edgerton. It doesn't have anything on here, and I don't have the box of this bottle. I bought this bottle without the box, Richie. Well, you know what? Right back to that comment, Chris. It's the same thing that Eric Waite was saying. We don't need to spend a fortune on it. And the more we're willing to pay for more expensive stuff, the more expensive they come up with. Yeah, I got that's interesting. I should probably do that. I have a lot of open bottles at home. I should make a little sampling. Matter of fact, I think I need to buy, I have some at home, actually, some nice measuring jigs. Do a little comparison of stuff. I think that would be interesting. Don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. Had a great experience from Ralphie Tip to blend Eagle Rare and Rittenhouse Rye. Good idea. Actually, I like that. I might have a bottle of Rittenhouse Rye at home, but I do have another bottle of opened rye I just haven't been getting to. I like that, Donner. That's a good idea. Chris, don't listen to Julia. She's got more money than I know what to do with. If I had Julia's money, I'd burn mine. I've changed it, not in a bad way. Well, it definitely improved the Adelphi. Took away the spicy cinnamon finish I'm getting, or was getting. Unique. Julia's a good woman. She doesn't need a lot to be happy. I'm learning. I got a lot of learning to do, especially how to communicate to girls. Chronicles of AJ, how you doing? How do I protect my wallet from women? How do you protect your wallet from women? You find women that aren't about your wallet. And that sometimes comes from our attitude. If we think that a woman is only after our money, I guess my point on that is I have a few buddies that are always have the women as a crutch to blame for how unhappy they are, and vice versa. I mean, if we meet anybody that's always in an abusive relationship, every time they're with somebody, you have to think, who's the common denominator here? It's a different man or a different time. Let's get back to this here. How can I lose connection? Yeah, everybody there? I agree. I have a small budget, but love tasting new whiskeys, and some expensive ones have been my faves. Yeah. Dark Cove. Yes, I have Dark Cove. Did you try? Am I back now? Says I'm back. Still broadcasting. I don't know. There was a little bit of a miss here. I am back. Sorry about that. Yeah. Where are we going here? That was weird. Yeah, you know, it just said exactly. Even rich, some of the people that afford to buy things that I would never think of still have a budget, and they're not buying something just because it's expensive and thinking it's of value. There's lots of stuff out there that's very expensive that has no value. I'm back, Richard. I hope. Anybody let me know everything's good now? Good. We oftentimes put too much pressure on the whiskey in our glass and on ourselves. I tend to just enjoy the liquid in the glass without adding stress to the experience. Absolutely. If you go back to the live I did when I opened up a bottle of the Muse Hedonism, which is in that very liquor store was over $350. And I said, hey, let's open it up. And I shared it with some of the staff. There are two or three guys. They're very helpful. They're very nice people. Dave, the manager, is a very, very good guy. And we had a conversation about that one time. He says, I used to try to write notes about everything he was tasting. Then he finally just realized, I'm not enjoying it anymore. I'm going to stop. And that's what he did. He stopped the whiskey, or stopped the notes, and just stayed in the moment of enjoying the whiskey. Right? Whiskey in the Six. How you doing, buddy? I'm just doing a pre-warm up, a re-warm up, whatever, after Eric Waite's show, before the Scotch Test Dummies, buddy. Drinking Bal Blair 97. Sorry, I forgot here. Oh my lord. Oh, sorry, Scott, Rob. I was supposed to phone you back. I hate night shifts, man. I just keep falling asleep. I kept waking up thinking, oh, I got to call Rob. And then I finally just fell asleep and then woke up. When I woke up, I talked to Julia, not you. Sorry, you got to take second place to Julia, but that's just the way it goes. Anyway, Dr. Ragland, I agree with you 100% about that point. Chondronic 12 is a good example. $50 and one of my favorites. Exactly, Chris. It is. And there's some pressure on it too, because if you get the older numbers on it, people will say you got to hold on to that one, right? Now, I'm a bad example for that. I have lots of whiskey, as many of you know. But I also work away from home a lot. I have probably 50 to 60 bottles open right now. Well, maybe not that much. That's why I brought a few with me. And I didn't even know when I was coming down there that I was going to be doing nights. That's all right. It means I can do a live video every night or every morning. Rob doesn't get summer vacations. He just has 2 different jobs that he does with one less thing interfering with him. Oh, I like this. And Richard, that wasn't a bad idea. Even those few drops that were left of the Adelphi. Yep. How much time do we have, guys, before the Scotch Test Dummies? Oh, still 20 minutes. I was until we decided to sell our house. Richie, you going to sell your house? What's going on? Rob, you're selling your house. You're moving to Edmonton. You're going to join the Edmonton Teachers Association. You're going to get a bigger house, you mean. You need a bigger house. You need your own whiskey room and a big yard. You can lock the kids in the back of. You know, yeah, you stay in the same area? Man, we got lots of questions now, Rob. You have more open bottles than me. There's, I know lots of people think I have a massive amount, but I mean, I've seen tons of guys that have more, and lots of guys that probably don't talk about theirs, right? Even where I live, Julia can't get to my house. She could go there, and next time you're there, count how many open bottles I have. I moved them all into the whiskey wardrobes, so buy bigger in the same area. Oh. Yeah, that's always stressful buying a house, even if you've already done it once or twice. And I don't like moving, to tell you the truth. How many open bottles does everyone have? Yeah. Yeah, Peter White, you open every single thing, don't you? I am just trying to picture what bottles I have in there. I'm sure that there's that many, close to 50 anyway, minus the ones I have here. What are you going to do with them? I mean, yeah, I think some need to be changed. Like my peated ones that I open up, about halfway through, I don't want to drink them anymore anyway, because they've lost that oomph. I think they lose it faster. They oxidize quicker or in a different way than other ones. Easy 100. Sad it doesn't want to count them. George says about 70. I'm sure that you're way above me there, George. Whiskey Sneerson, 25 to 30 open. Hey, buddy, how you doing? You killed a dozen in the past month. 20-year-old Armagnac. I don't think I've ever tried an Armagnac. I have a nice cognac at home. Cognac that that's a single barrel, single cask or a cask strength single barrel cognac. That's very special. You don't get many of them. Because almost every single cognac is a blend, right? I've had the experience now 3 times to be able to try a single barrel cognac. One of them was right from the man that actually makes the cognac, and the barrels are stamped and they're owned by people like Martel and so forth. But a friend of mine from, well, he lives where I do now, but he's originally from Quebec, was in Spain for motorcycle racing, and he stopped over to visit an old family friend in Cognac, France, and the guy gave him 5 bottles to bring back, and they are awesome. Does argon gas really preserve whiskey? I believe it will keep the oxygen away from things. It's a wine maker or wine collector's trick. They'll open up a bottle, and what they don't finish, they spray the argon into the bottle, and because it's heavier than air, it pushes the air out. I don't know if that answers your question, Mose Chan, but that's the theory behind it. So the oxygen and argon is inert, so it doesn't affect the wine. That's going to be me in the next buy when I go to Total Wine and get a 25-year-old for 25-year-old for $65. Can't get Scotch for that, no. Oh, you're talking about the Armagnac, yeah. 1,000 open bottles, and does he use argon in each and every one of them? Okay, he would have to. If you have that many open, I think you are. And I might buy a can of argon, because at a lot of wine places where I'm from, they actually sell your typical, small can of argon. So, and you can just, that would be a bad, especially with what I just said about my peated bottles that I open up. Armagnacs are they? Well, thanks for sharing that secret with everybody now and not just me. I thought we were friends. I got to get stocked up on the Armagnac now. I'll tell you, Rob. What sounds like the liquor hound? He has 100 open bottles. How many bottles does he have in his collection, Dram, dude? And welcome. Probably around 60 or 7 open. Yeah. Have I guys told you how much I dislike night shift? Look what it's doing to me. I should go down to the hot tub and soak in the hot tub. I wonder if I could get my computer down there to watch. I have some single grain whiskeys that are great, but I tell you, in my area, the single grain whiskeys, the single grain scotches have gone out the freaking roof. They sort of lowered a little bit in some areas, but they're very expensive. 2-3 years ago, I bought a 47-year-old for under $300. That would be closer to $500 now. So then what's the difference then, Rob? So cognac and a brandy are pot still, and Armagnac is column still. How much of a difference does that really make? Night shift sucks, Chris. You and I both know that. And I wouldn't mind being out in the patio or back area here, but it's a beautiful sunny night out and it stays dark for a long time. Oh, he's got way more than I do then. He has 1,000 bottles and he has approximately 100 open at a time. Yeah. They're both brandy. They're all brandy then. Armagnac's a brandy as well? I got to read. I got to learn how to read, eh? I hate teachers making me read. I used to read all the time. So, again, that actually goes back to what? Who was saying what? Oh, Vin had some comment about some guy saying a Tennessee whiskey is not a bourbon. Well, technically, no, it's not. But once upon a time, you could only call bourbon if it was made in Kentucky, let alone Bourbon County. Then a few years back, they changed the laws, and you can make it anywhere you want as long as you follow the same rules. Well, Tennessee has its own rules about certain things. They filter using a maple oak. Sorry, I hear people at my front door here. They might be trying to hear if I'm in the room. Guys I work with, they're like, hey, come on, Colby, get some whiskey. Let's go drinking. They don't want to drink like I drink. They want to get drunk and wasted. I believe it has 1,500 bottles, of which around 1,000 are open. I think we have conflicting stories here. Ugh. Better to buy age statement Armagnac rather than vintage. They tend to store them into glass demijohn, so they may not be the age you think unless stated. Very good point. But there's lots of that, isn't there? Like Solera Finnish stuff. Cuba, they'll say it's so old, but it technically everything in the bottle wasn't aged for 10 years or whatever. They just took some from a bottle or a barrel that was that age. So I've been told. The vintages do have to be a minimum of 10 years, which is older than most cognacs. So he'd have to gas them all if he's got that many open. Whether it's 100 or 1,000 he has open, he'd have to gas them all. Or they'd lose their zest, I would say. Wouldn't it be great if we just lived in a world where every one of us could just make our own whiskey and, we grow our own food, we do different things, and we age it for a while. Hey, Rob, I just made a bunch of whiskey. Should you come on over here and try the new make spirit and then come back in 5 years and we'll check it out again. And maybe Rob started something. Can't believe that we're at the mercy of corporations. Get me going and don't even start, Richard. I know. Night shifts are better than double shifts. We were only allowed to work 16 hours maximum under the labor laws. And I have this year worked more 16-hour shifts than I have in a long time. Just because of the demand of the schedule, Santa. It doesn't matter. The shift itself, it's the rest of the day. What do you think of that Lefroy cask strength quarter cask? Oh, you have a blend. You blended it with a quarter cask. Interesting. 3,000 bottles open, Peter White. And what does Liquor Hound do for a living? What's that? Yeah, is somebody out in the? It's funny that speaker picks everything up. I have it in behind the. Unless it's. I have the TV up. I can barely hear it. No, I don't think so. Is that quieter now? 3,000 bottles. Hope that's quieter now. Okay, boys. I think it's time for me to go and let the Scotch Test Dummies rock and roll. All right. Thanks a lot for staying warm for the Scotch Test Dummies with me. Ryan Summers, we're going to watch the Scotch Test Dummies, boys. They're just starting. They have a guest talking about his documentary. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Retired contractor. Okay.